Hi, pal. Someone asked us. Episode 104. He's Craig. I'm Logan. Happy November 20th. Happy Monday. Just before Thanksgiving. Going to get a quick episode out here for everyone. I know we've been slacking a little bit, but we're here. We're here to talk about some Illinois basketball, Illinois football, and whatever else comes to mind. Before we get into everything, as always, like, share, subscribe, get in the comments section. Let us know what's up. If you're watching us live, get in the chat, say hey, and we'll probably give you a shout out because that's what we do around here. Craig Choate,
Like and
welcome
subscribe.
back. Like and subscribe. Correct. Did I not say that already?
You might have. I'm not paying attention
I probably
to you.
did. You weren't paying attention. Craig, you are back from your trip. Your golf trip. You seem to be a little tired, a little exhausted. I want to hear all about it, or as much as you want to tell the listening body. What can you tell us about your experience? Did you hit them straight?
What happens in Alabama stays in Alabama.
Is that how it goes?
No. Yeah, we went to so this is the second year that I've taken part in this. This is the fifth year this group of guys has done it. It's our Ryder Cup style event, where a group of us split into two teams and battle it out on the course. So last year we went to Champaign. There were initially 17 of us, two backed out, so it was a 15 person group last year. This year was only 8 because we did go to Alabama, which is a lot farther away than Champaign from where everyone is. Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, always wanted to go. It's like a bucket list. It's a great golf trip location, destination. So we went to Robert Trent Jones, Capitol Hill, 3 different courses there. One's like a links style you'll see over at the Open Championship. The other 2 more American, traditional. One of them has water on 14 holes. The other one's more Midwestern with a lot of trees and trees lined in the fairways and whatnot. The links style course has 140 sand traps. 140 bunkers across 18 holes. Only hit in it once. So, and we played that course twice. So I played 36 holes on that and only went in 1 sand trap. So that was good. But yeah, we split into 2 teams of 4. We did, we would switch groups after each 9. So the first 27 holes was 2-man scrambles. And then the last 9 on Friday was a 4-person scramble, 4-team scramble. And then Saturday was all best ball for the first 18. And then me and one other guy on my team went head-to-head against 2 guys on their team individually for the last 18 on Saturday. And then the other 4 split up into and scrambled. So, yeah, it's a good team aspect. I was a captain, so drafted a team, but I lost the belt this year. If you remember last year, I brought the belt on this show and displayed the belt on this show.
Yes. Yeah.
So I won last year. I was defeated this year. So I'm no longer champion of the belt. But it's becoming a yearly thing. It has been for these guys, but for me, I look forward to it every fall. We did learn that we need to schedule this before daylight savings because we were racing the sun.
Yeah, that's probably a good point.
Yeah, but like Logan asked me before we started, I never thought there was too much golf, but 72 holes in 48 hours is too much golf. My body is aching. I am tired, but it was a blast. It was awesome.
Well, I'm happy for you. I'm glad that you had a successful weekend. You looked like you had a good time. You didn't miss much in the world of sports, I'll be honest. Yeah. So if you're going to pick any weekend to go do that, you probably picked the right one. So other than, of course, the daylight issue.
I watched everything Illini, but normally I watch a lot of other stuff, and I wasn't able to watch a lot of other stuff this weekend.
Okay. Well, we're going to get into some of that. Yeah, let's just go ahead and get into this thing. So Illinois basketball, we'll start with basketball today. We'll get to football here shortly. Illinois basketball played 2 games over the weekend. They hosted Valparaiso on Friday night. They hosted Southern University on Sunday night. Both of those games were 30-point or close to 30-point wins for the Illini. But there's plenty of things you could take away from both of those games. I know you were a little preoccupied or a little tired or exhausted, so I don't know how much attention you were giving either of these games, but we can kind of talk about them individually. Let's start with Valparaiso, which was the Friday night game, the return of Roger Powell Jr. to Champaign, former Illini great, member of the national champion runner-up team in 2004-2005, leading the Valparaiso Beacons into Champaign, falling to the Illini though on Friday night, 87-64. Just to kind of go over some numbers, Terrence Shannon led scorers in that game, 22 points for Illinois, 7 rebounds for him. Dane Dange 16.7 boards. Luke Goody at 13 points. Luke was 4 for 9 from 3 in the Valpo game. Biggest takeaway for me from that, I mean, they've played a whole nother game since then, so I don't want to like dwell on this too much, but Valparaiso led this game for like the first 36 minutes. I don't know, something. It was something nuts. It was like the 14 or 13 minute mark in the second half that Illinois finally took the lead back, and then eventually ran away with it. I've said it once. I'll say it again. I'm glad I didn't have to say it on Sunday. Illinois has to stop spotting teams, bad teams, 15 points to start the games. Like, that's just it. Like, if you stop spotting teams get points, you're going to win by 30 points. Like, it's just, this is a regular thing. These teams are slow to start, and they just let inferior opponents just get 10 points out of the gate, and I'm over it. I'm done with it. That's
Where have we heard this before?
Yeah, we have. I've said it several times on the show.
Year of Brad Underwood's tenure. Well, I don't remember. I don't know about every year. Were the IO teams like this? I feel like the IO teams.
I don't
like
remember.
This. I don't know.
I've slept since then.
Yeah, right. I will say my full disclaimer. Oh, we got a thumbs up. I don't know where that came from. Full disclosure, like I just led the show with, I was on a boys golf trip this weekend, so I didn't pay attention to games like I normally do, but we did have the game on with no audio, playing some cards and shooting dice and all that stuff. So wasn't paying full attention. My takeaway is Terrence Shannon is All-American. Like that, it was like the only good thing I feel like, especially Friday. How much of it can be attributed to the blue uniforms at home? I don't think that's ever happened.
I don't know what that was about.
For the record, blue uniforms are my favorite uniforms. I know their record in them is terrible, but I like them the best. It's a little concerning. They did win. They almost covered, which is unbelievable. But I'm with you. How do you not come out ready to play? Like, I know you're playing Valpo. I know you're playing Southern, but you're playing college basketball. Like, get hyped. You're at home. Play the game. You know,
it's concerning. It's concerning.
Yeah.
I mean, we can chalk it up to a lot of things. It is November. This team is still trying to get their footing. This team, I did not mention it. Coleman Hawkins has not played in either of these two games. He's a little banged up, and they just didn't sound like they wanted to risk it. I wouldn't be too concerned about Coleman Hawkins long term, but I just felt like that was a good chance for them to not worry about him, and they didn't need him. In fact, I think you can make an argument that they might have looked better without him out there, but that's not a conversation that we need to get into today. I'm sure other people are having that conversation without us. I've seen Brant is in the chat. He's kind of lighting us up with some Illinois basketball related things, and I do want to kind of touch on some of these things. So
this one first, since you just mentioned
the Coleman thing. Yes, big deal, little deal, no deal. Hawkins missing the last two games. I say it's little deal. I'm not concerned with that
right now.
Yes.
Right now, in this moment, little deal.
Correct.
If he misses a couple more games, then it becomes
a
big deal.
It does become a big deal, although I will say the next game is a week from now, or less than a week from now, against Western Illinois. another game I'm not terribly concerned about. But if he
Mhm.
does miss more games after that, then you start running into Florida Atlantic, you start running into Tennessee. So those are games, and Rutgers. Those are games you're obviously going to want him around. We haven't seen good Coleman yet this year, but we do know what good Coleman can be. So yeah, I agree. Right now, little deal. If it lasts, whatever this is, lasts much longer than another week or so, it's a bigger deal. I'm not going to call it a big deal yet, but it is a bigger deal. Real quick, let's just, well, I don't know. I don't know if we want to get into other things too. I was going to say the Nico Moretti injury. I'm not sure what's going on there too. We can talk about him and as we get into the second game. But yeah, the Valparaiso game, that was the most concerning thing. They just come out flat again. They let a bad Valparaiso team carry the lead all the way through halftime, well into the second half, end up pulling away with it, ended up winning by 23 points or whatever it was. As I said, Terrence Shannon really was he's the All-American. This is his team, and he knows it. I think that's the bigger deal. Illinois won the second half, like 49-19 was the second half total. So if they just want to be a second half team, like that's fine. But like you can't do this against good teams. Like if you let that happen against Florida Atlantic or a Tennessee or God forbid like a Rutgers, like you're gonna lose. Like it's inevitable. So whatever that is, you have to figure it out. Granted, I know it's November. I know they're still figuring out rotations and figuring out things. And I know the Coleman situation, but like you just can't let that happen. You just can't. So that was Friday. Sunday, Southern University came into Champaign. It was a little bit better of a game from the very beginning, for at least from Illinois' standpoint. They didn't trail this game hardly at all, if any. Again, Terrence Shannon was quiet. I was thinking to myself throughout the first 10 or so minutes, like, is Terrence going to show up? Because he hadn't done much, but they were still winning handily. Dane Danger was phenomenal. The first 10, 15 minutes of this game was kind of non-existent after that. But then Terrence Shannon did what he does, 24 points in 30 minutes from him, 3 boards, 4 assists. Did have a couple turnovers. But yeah, he ran away with it. When he wants to turn it on, he turns it on. If he wants to drive like he does to the hoop every single time, he's not going to get stopped. Now, you are going to run into situations like we did see late in the game last night, where he's going to take some hard falls, and that is scary, especially when he is far and away your best player, and we have yet to really see who's going to step up to be the second best player on this team, if there is one. So you can't let him, risk it. I know there was a lot of commotion about why he was even in the game at that point. They were already up 20-some points with 6 minutes left. I agree. At that point, take him out of the game, let him shoot his free throws if he's fine, but then pull him. He doesn't need to be out there, but whatever. They left him in there for longer than he probably should have been. But Shannon, 24 points. Dane Danger, 12 points early. I think did he score all of those points in like the first half? I don't remember.
He had 10. I think he had the 10 of the first 12.
He had the first, yeah, exactly. He had the first 8 points, I know for sure, of the game. But yeah, 12 for him, 12 and 4 rebounds. Quincy Guerrier was the only other Illinois scorer in double figures. He finished with 10. Quincy Guerrier still struggling from the 3-point line, just like the rest of this team is, other than Luke Goody. He's like 1 for 16 or 1 for 19 or something from 3. But he still finished with 10 points, 6 rebounds. Nobody else in double figures, but Luke Goody, Justin Harmon each had 9. And Amani Hansberry looked really good off the bench, getting some additional minutes because of Coleman's absence. He looked good as well. Nico Moretti, I think, was the story for me. Granted, it ended poorly with his foot, ankle injury, whatever it was. Left the game in the second half, came back in a boot on the sidelines, back in his street clothes. Don't know the severity of that. My take on Nico Moretti, looks like a real point guard. I don't know if he would look as good in a Big Ten game as he does against a team like Southern. But in a game against this type of opponent, he looked really good. So it was really nice to see him get the minutes that he did. It's unfortunate that he did injure himself. Again, we don't know the severity. We don't know how long he's gonna be out. But it was nice to know he was going to get those minutes, especially with the Sincere thing. There's backcourt minutes there somewhere. It may not be a lot, but there are some. So he looked good. I think he was really the standout for me in last night's game. Do you agree?
Yeah, it was nice to see a point guard out there because we have everyone has been calling for this roster construction, not having a point guard for the longest time, and now it was Southern, but the passes he was making no look passes on a dime, like exactly where they needed to be. He was getting into the defense. He was doing what a point guard does that no one else on this roster can do. So yeah, it was fun to see him. I was on the fence about him. I'm still not fully in because it was Southern. Same thing, same way we talked about the Eastern game early on and the Oakland game early on. You can't take a whole lot of stock into these games because they're just a minuscule amount of the season, and they're not the opponents you'll be seeing in March. But the potential is there. And I think it was Jeremy Werner tweeted it during the game that he was in a walking boot. And he said that's much better than seeing him in crutches.
Right, exactly.
On crutches. So
no, I agree.
I was trying to pull up the schedule real quick because what is it after?
It's Western Illinois on Friday.
Okay, and then the second. So
I say Rutgers.
You probably sit him out for the Western game and hope to have him back in 12 days or whatever. Give him almost 2 weeks to get ready for Rutgers and see where you go from there.
I agree with you. I'm not totally in on Nico Moretti at this point, but again, he is a freshman. There's still obviously some work to go there, especially on the defensive side. Mm-hmm. He's got to get some strength, but he's at the right place for that. We know what Adam Fletcher does to members of this team. So long term, I love Nico Moretti with this program. Short term, he's a body. And I've made the comment about Dane Danger in the past about he's your midweek starter in baseball terms,
mm-hmm. Mid-major All-American.
Yeah. And exactly. And you're right in the sense that Nico Moretti probably isn't a player that helps you too much in Big Ten games, but you still have to win these games too. Mm-hmm. So if those players can help you win these games, like
Missouri,
you still need to win the games. So if he's able to do that and get his minutes and he helps you get a win, that's what's important. You're going to be able to count on Terrence Shannon, hopefully Coleman Hawkins, some of these other more experienced players when you get to the Big Ten season. So it's nice that other players can contribute in these games against non-conference opponents.
What did he do against Valpo?
Nico?
He had 6 and 2 in 13 minutes because I think we were watching it and 2 of the guys that are in the group chat were also on this trip, and one of them, and I'm not saying this set in stone, but I think the whole foreign aspect and shorter stature kind of player throughout a lower level Ricky Rubio type of player. Now, will he be Ricky Rubio? I highly doubt that.
Right.
But that's the style of game that Moretti plays. There was also a comp thrown out that kind of makes sense. I think it was both by the same guy. I think it was shout out Dukes. Quincy Guerrier, the group chat sees a little bit of Monte in him.
I can see that.
A taller.
He's taller.
A little bit bigger Monte. Although
I can see that.
The last 2 years of DeMonte's career, he was a sniper from 3. But early on, he couldn't hit anything, and that's kind of what they're comparing him to right now.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I think it's very accurate.
I don't hate that. I had this thought last night at the game. We should have started this from the very beginning, but maybe we can start it now. Some sort of future track or odds predictor of who the point guard is by the end of the season. Because it just seems to, like obviously it was Ty's job to lose, and then
He lost it.
Is it Dre? Is it Damask? Is it Nico? I don't know. It's gonna be a topic of conversation on this show and every other Illini centric podcast or conversation all season long. 3-point shooting and point guard play.
Speaking of, do you want to get to some of Brant's questions?
Yes,
he's been in here.
Yes, his Brant's first comment was about the shooting. Brant says, is Illinois basketball in trouble? Shooting 58.1% at the line, 29.8% from three. Both are 200 plus in the nation. Yes. Ultimately, the answer to that question is yes. The free throw shooting is abysmal. We'll get the 3-point shooting is his own animal. You can't be that bad as a free throw shooting team. I know Dane Danger is a large part of that, but they even made a comment on the broadcast last night that even if you take Dane's numbers out, it's still abysmally bad as a free throw shooting team. So like collectively, and Dane's got to get better too. I can't just like leave Dane out of the equation. Dane's going to shoot a lot of free throws, so he has to get better. But as a team, yes, collectively they have to improve. 3-point shooting, yes, also drastically needs to improve if they're going to continue to take as many shots a game as they do. If they're only going to take 10 shots a game and you only make 3, okay, fine. But if you're going to take what they took, 22 on Sunday, and how many did they take on Friday?
I got Fridays right here.
They took 19 on Friday. So
a
total of 40-some free throws.
Oh, free throws.
Or sorry, no, 3-pointers. 5 for 19 on Friday.
That was Valpo. Illinois went 9 for 28.
I'm looking at Valpo's. Okay, never mind. I was looking at the wrong team.
9 for
28. Yeah, 9 for 28 on Friday and 5 for 22 on Sunday. So, yeah, you shot 50 threes and you made how many of them? It's bad, man. It's really bad.
But Logan, Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn hit 37 in a row in practice the other day. That means they're a good shooting team. That don't mean shit.
Don't get me on that soapbox. I've listened to Greg and Carter talk about that nonsense.
Listen to who?
Sleepers.
Yeah, I mean, you went into the offseason knowing that last year's roster's deficiencies were point guard play and shooting. And you didn't address either, and you expect people to believe that this team is one of the best shooting teams you've had. No one believed you. No one believed that. They had no one shooting-wise. And I don't think that's something that you can... At this point, you can't fix that. Like, will the free throw percentages go up? I sure would hope so. But if you're not a good 3-point shooter, you're not a good 3-point shooter. It's not like, unless you're getting up, it's not something you can improve in season, is what I'm trying to say. You can improve off season. You can get in there every day of the off season, shoot 1,000 threes, whatever. You're not going to do that in season. So those deficiencies are going to remain this year because you can't fix those. Will they have games where they might hit 12 or 13 threes? Sure. Didn't Terrence hit 9 threes in a game last year? Was it the Texas game or UCLA game? One of the two. He hit 9 threes. Is a game like that coming? Probably. But he's might be the only one. I'm with you, though. Free throws are way more concerning.
Yeah, it has to be. Like, those are gimmies. Those are absolute gimmies, and you're shooting that poorly. So as a team right now from 3, Luke Goody is shooting 46%. He's 14 for 30 from the 3-point line. Yeah, from 3.
Him and Damask and Terrence
Shannon
the 3
is 36%.
That's
12 for 33.
That's okay.
After that, it's pretty bad. Damask 27%, 6 for 22. The only other person that's hit more than 2 3-pointers on the season is no, they don't have another one. There's only 3 people that have hit more than 2 3-pointers, 2 or more 3-pointers on the season.
Terrence, Marcus.
3 players that have hit more than 3. Yes, it's Terrence, it's Luke, and it's Marcus Damask.
Yeah.
Justin Harmon's hit 2. Drake's Lawhorn has hit 2. And that's it. And this team has already shot a
Coleman made a single
collective.
one.
Coleman Hawkins is 1 for 7 from 3.
Yeah.
Amani Hansberry is 1 for 2. Quincy Guerrier is 1 for 16.
1 for 16.
This team has shot collectively 133 pointers on the season, and they have made 39 of them. And of that 39, 26 of those have come from Luke Goody and Terrence Shannon.
Brant made another good point off of that. Illinois is 30th in the country in 2-point field goal percentage.
They don't shoot 2-pointers. Like, it's bad. I don't get it, man. I'm not an X's and O's guy. Like, full transparency, and I'm sure you guys have all figured that out. Like, that's just not my bag. But like, this is bad. This is just bad.
Yeah.
Free throws are obviously are more concerning because they're such gimmies, and you're going to shoot a lot of them. When Terrence Shannon's game is to just drive to the hoop, he's going to shoot a ton of free throws. Dane Danger is going to shoot a ton of free throws. Ty Rodgers is going to shoot a ton of free throws.
That's not a good thing.
I know.
Dane Danger shooting free throws is not a good thing.
I know, but like, neither is Ty Rodgers.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, the free throw thing too. I mean, if we want to go into that, free throws, Terrence is 24 for 34. He's 70% on the season. Damask is 7 for 10 at 70%. Coleman's 3 for 4, 75%. After that, it's Amani's 2 for 3. Guerrier's 2 for 3. Nico's 4 for 6.
I mean, you gotta think
Dane Danger 2 for 13.
Yeah, it's there's going to be a game where it's going to come down to making free throws at the end.
Yeah.
And every team has that guy. Get the ball in this guy's hands. Don't give it up. Don't give it up. Illinois doesn't have that guy. They need to get a guy up in the 90. What was up in the 90th percentile? What was Terrence last year? Because I feel like he was upper 80s.
Talking about free throws?
Yeah. He was 79% last year.
Okay. Glad you have that quicker than I did.
And I feel like the guy could be one of the new guys. Marcus Damask. He went his 4 years at SIU. He was 82.5, 82.9, 82.4. His last year at SIU, he was 87.6% from free throw line. 120 for 137. He missed 17 free throws last year. Yeah. But he's already taken 10 this year, you said?
He's only taken 10. He's 7 for 10. Yeah, this team doesn't – that's not their game. They're shooting threes, and they're not getting fouled on them. So that's – I don't know. It is frustrating. It is concerning. It is alarming. These are all things we knew going into the season, and you're right. They were not ultimately addressed. Yeah. Let's see. I think that's probably going to be it for those two games. Up next is Western Illinois Friday night, Friday afternoon, Friday night, whatever time it is. Friday night, 8:00 Central Time, 9:00 Eastern Time in Champaign. And then the week after that, it's the first Big Ten game on the road at Rutgers. So I don't know. The shooting is obviously going to be concerning. It's going to be alarming. It's going to be an issue all season long. Yes. Brant's next point. I'm not gonna dwell on this. Yes, Illinois dropped out of the top 25. That is a fact. Despite only having one loss, and that was being a close game to the number 4 team in the country, they still dropped out of the polls. It's easy for us as Illinois fans to look at this and be like, what the hell? And I agree. I'm also like, what the hell? But you have to realize that, I don't know, there's however many voters voting for this, and a lot of them didn't think Illinois belonged in the top 25 to start. So whatever. I'm not concerned about it. A top 25 ranking on November 20th. Is it fair or foul? I would say it's foul, but ultimately I don't care. As much as I want to sit here and rant and rave about it, I just don't. I do not. It's not relevant. I don't think it matters at all. Do I think they should have dropped out of the top 25 after what's happened to the season? No, absolutely not. Especially when you look at the other things that have happened around them, like Florida Atlantic losing a game to whoever and moving up or staying in the top 25, and Arkansas losing to whoever and staying. Like, yes, USC, like there are teams that have lost games that Illinois has not lost and are still in the top 25. So yes, from that standpoint, it is dumb, but I don't care ultimately. Do you care?
I'm proud of you.
Why is that?
I don't know, because you like to go on soapboxes sometimes.
Well, I mean, I could. Like, did you see my tweet?
Yeah. That's why I thought you were going to come on here and
no, like it's November 20th, man. Like there were so many people that didn't even think they should be in the top 25 to begin with. So
yeah,
what have they done so far to prove that they should be?
I've got two things.
Okay, great. Balloons.
Whoa. What was that?
And why does it happen to your screen and not mine? I want balloons. Do I have to earn them?
What the heck was that?
Somebody showed you some love. Apparently.
Oh, okay. I got two things. One, who cares? Who cares? Two, have you watched an Illinois game yet? They're not a top 25 team. Point blank. Like, yes, they were ranked, but just because you're ranked and you don't lose doesn't mean you have to stay ranked. You know, they've looked bad. We just talked about they can't make free throws. They can't make a three. For the most part, they're letting these mid-major teams compete for at least a half. The Valpo game, they did pull away, but Valpo was right in it for 30 of the 40 minutes. Like, they've done nothing to deserve a ranking. So
you're right. But
good point here from, I never know how to say this guy's name. He's in here a lot. Like, I always think being underrated is better and not by just a little. Like, yeah, I would rather this team be unranked than be a top 10 team. You know, they need to start coming out with some fire and something to prove, because right now they're not. So maybe falling out of the rankings, maybe they get lights their ass on fire and they start coming out and playing better.
Yeah. No, I mean, I mostly agree with what you said. I do think they are a top 25 team, and I do think that while they haven't done anything to earn it, they also haven't done anything to lose it, while other teams have. That's the biggest thing, and that's the qualms that other people have. It's the fact that whoever else is in the top 25 around, in the lower part that lost already to games to opponents that Illinois has beaten. Whatever. Again, it's November 20th, so Illinois will have plenty of opportunities to put themselves back in that conversation. I am still a believer that they are a top 25 team, but again, they have really, I mean, it's part of it's just scheduling, but like they haven't really shown it. Granted, they have beaten all these teams by like 25 plus points.
Yeah.
Still, they have let those teams hang around for far too long. And it wasn't until like the last 10 or so minutes that they really start to put the clamps down. But yes, Illinois drops out of the top 25, hosts Western Illinois on Friday, and then the week after travels to Rutgers. Anything else basketball related or any other comments we want to get into? I know Brant's had a few things to say. He's asked a question, or basically, do you want to get rid of Brad? Whatever. I don't know if there's anything else on here you want to touch on before we move on to football.
To answer Brant's question, no. I do not want Illinois to move on from Brad Underwood. If he keeps getting Illinois to the tournament, eventually they're going to crack through.
I mean, Brad is to blame for the issues. Like, let's not sugarcoat that. Like, this is the team he built.
Well, this in particular, he's asking about the slow starts. I don't think that's Brad. Like, I feel like coaches are always like, I got to figure out a way to get this team going. I don't feel like that's the coach's job. The coach's job is to have a game plan together. The players have to the players know what motivates them. They have to get themselves into the game mode. Can the coach help with that? Sure. But the coach is more so there to put the game plan in place, the X's and O's, this is what's going to beat this opponent. The players have to know what pumps them up, and they have to come out of the locker room ready to play.
But we did this whole thing last year too, where Brad didn't know how to he didn't know how to handle players. He didn't know how to get players into the right mindset. Like, this isn't a new thing. And I'm not anti Brad Underwood at all. Like, I agree with you in the sense, like, he continues to take this team to the tournament and puts them in a position to, win a Big Ten title or get close to winning a Big Ten title. Yes, there are obviously issues, but I do think there is something to the fact that these issues continue to come up, and the issues that Brad has have not been addressed. I mean, the negatives are still present. Like, they aren't different. So yeah, I'm with you, but like at the same time, like I get why the conversation is there. These things haven't changed. This is the exact same conversation we were having a year ago about these games, about these players. Granted, it's a fairly new roster, but still starting games and letting teams like Valparaiso have a lead well into the second half. Like, that's that. Like, yes, that is on the players, and I do agree with you 100%. Some of that has to fall on the head coach.
I think the issue of this year, and maybe not last offseason, but the issue of this offseason is they waited for their guy, and then they didn't get their guy. What the heck? Is it this? It might be like this, because I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But in the offseason, they waited for, quote-unquote, their guy. Everyone said they have their guy they're going after. That guy hit the portal. They didn't get that guy. It put this whole roster out of whack. He's got to stop doing that. He's got to stop.
Yeah, hey, that was a mistake.
I have a guy. Yes. I'm waiting on that guy. If there's someone in the portal that you think is going to help you, go get him and screw that other guy. If that guy wants to wait until till May or June to enter the portal and make his decision, you don't have time to wait. You got to go get someone.
Yeah.
And I hope he learned that this offseason.
That was absolutely Brad's mistake. And I'm sure he is well aware of that at this point. So, yeah, I mean, the man is not perfect. We know that. Everybody knows that. But yeah, he is certainly to blame for some of these things. But I don't think neither of us are on the train of getting rid of him is the best answer for Illinois basketball. So
the other one was shout out Jason. Buddy from my hometown. Hope if
What's
you're not
up,
watching,
Jason?
If you're not watching anymore, that's fine. But thanks for watching. Okay, we can move on. Right. I don't know of anything else crazy. I mean, it's feast week, so
it is feast week. Maui started today. Maui started today. Tennessee won the first game. Purdue and Gonzaga were playing. They're still playing right now. Purdue's up 3 points on Gonzaga. A couple more games tonight. Always looking forward to this week. Plenty of big tournaments and games going on. I looked into
Louisville right now.
Okay,
minute 15 left. Indiana's up 4.
Do you realize that it's been 4 years since Illinois has participated in a Thanksgiving week?
It was
event?
Maui, right?
Yeah, it was Maui.
That
was the last time.
Terrible.
Yeah,
like the worst Illinois team in decades was at the best Thanksgiving week tournament. It was awful.
Now, granted, last year they were in that thing out in Vegas, which was the week before.
Yeah.
But as far as Thanksgiving week, feast week events go, it's been 4 years since Illinois has actually participated in one.
I was just thinking about that today when I was watching that first Maui game. One, because next time Illinois is in it, I would love to go to Maui.
We'll take the show.
Yeah, on location. Yeah, I was just thinking about. I was more so thinking about Maui. Like, when's the next time Illinois is going to be at Maui? But I hadn't. I feel like they don't do anything other than Maui. Like, they've never been to Battle for Atlantis.
Yeah,
they don't do like the Myrtle Beach Invitational, the Charleston, whatever it is. They've never done any of that. I feel like it's either a small MTE or it's Maui. Like, it's feast or famine with Illinois.
And I don't know whose call that is. I mean, Illinois is now. This will be 2 years in a row. They've been in the Jimmy V Classic in New York, and but yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I was looking into that and whatever.
It's awesome that they're still able to have it in Maui.
Yeah.
in Hawaii. It's not in
Correct.
Maui,
Not in Maui, right?
but
they're in
I'm
Honolulu.
glad they're still in Hawaii doing it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Raising a lot of money for the islands and trying
I
to
will
put it
say
back together.
it didn't look or feel the same.
No, it's not.
I watched the second half of the Syracuse
Yeah.
game, Syracuse Tennessee.
I mean, they're
game, and I was
playing
like,
they're playing in an actual arena, like where
Yeah.
Hawaii
they're
plays, and it's
not playing in a junior high gym.
Yeah, which Maui is not exactly known for the hospitality, not necessarily the hospitality, but the experience there. It's not like you're going to watch a normal game elsewhere. But yeah, that's going on this week. Plenty of good basketball throughout the week and into the Thanksgiving Day weekend. We will maybe do a show Friday. I don't really know what my situation is going to be, so we'll figure that out later. All right, let's move on to football. Illinois football goes to Iowa City on Saturday. Gives themselves they had a chance to do it. They were leading late in the game, ultimately falling to Iowa 15-13. Illinois was up. Let's see.
2 or 3.
Caleb hit the field goal to put them up 13-9 at the 14-minute mark in the fourth quarter, and they held that lead for another 10 minutes. It wasn't until the Caleb Johnson 30-yard score at the 4:43 mark in the fourth quarter that put Iowa back on top by a couple points, and then Illinois wasn't able to put anything together to take the game back, which is unfortunate. This is we talked about it all. That this team continued to be a roller coaster, and they had set themselves up for potential interesting final weekend, but ultimately they fall short. I said 2 touchdowns would have won this game, and it was pretty damn close.
Did you watch like the whole thing?
Not the whole thing. No, I had it on the second half at least. But no, I was not watching the entire game.
There was a couple calls that I wasn't listening to, so I wasn't listening to the game, so I wasn't sure what the broadcast was saying. One, is it not a rule anymore that there is no defensive pass interference if the ball's uncatchable?
I don't know.
Because I feel like more so than ever, I feel like they're calling defensive pass interference on balls that there's no way the receivers can catch. Yeah. And I didn't think that you could call that if you couldn't catch it. 2, there was a flag for defensive pass interference on Iowa in the first half that they picked up. And I never saw on Twitter an explanation.
I don't know. I don't have an answer for you.
I'm not trying to make excuses. I didn't listen to the game. I wasn't paying full attention until about the last 10 minutes of the game because we were still on the course on Saturday. But I feel like what I did see, Iowa got some help.
Could have been.
That's just
is this conspiracy corner? Are you saying that this was?
I just feel like Illinois has more calls go against them than anyone in the Big Ten.
Would rather have Iowa playing in the Big Ten championship game as opposed to anybody else.
I thought they pretty much had already clinched. They were 2 games ahead.
Whatever. So it's not. This is not a conspiracy.
No, I mean I know Iowa's defense is good, but if you can't score 2 touchdowns, then
Iowa's. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Iowa has clinched a spot.
Now they have.
Yeah, let's see. They were had they lost, they would have been 5-3. And there would have been a 3-way tie right behind them. So I don't know what the tiebreakers were at that point, but either way, it's a moot point now. They scored the 15 points that they needed. And held Illinois to
this was one too.
Only 13. So
I did see this. Isaiah had Williams a first down by a yard, and they called him short with no review, and then the DPI call was crazy. Yeah. I saw that they had a terrible spot on a Williams pass and catch. Of course, our buddy is in the chat. South Bend Hawkeye.
South Bend Hawkeye, what's up?
I can't comment because I don't know the roughing the passer call that you're talking about. I did not see that, so I cannot comment on this.
Yeah,
I don't know if you did or not.
I don't remember what it was at this point, but yeah. So either way, it's over. This season is mostly over. Illinois can still get a bowl game if they beat Northwestern.
6-5 Northwestern.
Yeah, a
eligible
much
bowl
improved Northwestern team. So interesting game on Saturday. We'll see what happens. Illinois
I
needs
believe
a win to play a bowl.
Northwestern's season win total over under was 1.5.
They've overperformed.
I'm pretty sure it was 1.5.
Yeah.
On the plus side of the Illinois loss, I had Iowa over 8.5 regular season wins. So that ticket cashes. So I'll take that.
Congratulations.
Yeah. But I also had
Proud of you.
Illinois over 6.5. So that one's dead. I also had Maryland over 4.5 conference wins, and that one's dead.
Are we just gonna have a whole show recapping all of your
Oh,
bets?
we don't have the time for that.
That's a shame. Yeah, I don't think there's much else we need to talk about in that game. The only touchdown Illinois scored was a Reggie Love score on the ground. Yeah, Northwestern on Saturday. That's about it. South Bend Hawkeye had another.
I thought. Did Tip Ryman not score a touchdown? I thought Tip Ryman scored a touchdown.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Oh.
No, because it was just no. I thought I saw that. I don't know what happened, but no, it was just the one touchdown and then a couple Caleb Griffin field goals. So whatever. Moving on. That's done. Northwestern on Saturday, and then maybe a bowl game, maybe not.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, at this point, it's unfortunate. I think that everybody is feeling probably the same way. Too many lost opportunities, and yet another season where they should have performed better than they did. And then the conference gets a hell of a lot more difficult next year. So, what else you say? What else you want? Yeah. This couple of years were your chance to make some noise, and you underperform yet again. Some highlights, some bright spots in the season. It's not over. This is not an in memoriam for the season, but it is what it is.
Did you see the Jordan Travis injury?
No. Oh, no, I didn't see it. No.
Go look at the video.
Do you want me? Do I actually need to watch it, or is it gonna is it gonna make me sick? Because
no. I've seen worse.
You're gonna make me do this. You're gonna make me
do
react
it right
in
now.
real time.
Yes, yes.
I hate you so much.
Jordan Travis, Florida State quarterback, Heisman candidate. I think he was still in it.
All right, I'll watch
Logan's
it.
Watching this.
I'll watch it if it loads.
Quarterback draw. I don't know if it was a quarterback draw, but quarterback sneak, or he scrambles out of the pocket right up the middle.
I can't get videos to load right now. So this is going to make for great content if the video won't actually load on my screen. So we're going to give it a quick refresh just so you can get this great
you need to get
content.
Better internet.
My internet is fine.
He did say now that he's
I've never had a video just not load.
His career at FSU is over, which I think most people thought it was anyways, but he's not going to use his last year. He's a Louisville transfer too. He started here and Satterfield ran him off. So that's good coaching by Satterfield. Per usual. If you can't get it in the next couple seconds, just watch it later. This is dumb.
See, this is I'm moving on. I'm sorry. Okay. I don't know why.
Watch it later.
It's literally spinning. It's a video on Twitter and it's just sitting there spinning.
That's fine. That's fine.
Whatever. Moving on.
But as you said earlier, cream rising to the top, man. Like this college football season, it's like it's been okay, but I feel like all the good teams are like there's not been
Everybody, yeah,
I don't
there's
know.
been no movement in the top 10. It's been very chalky all season long. This upcoming weekend supposed to be a big rivalry weekend, and there's really one game of relevance as far as like top 10, as far as playoff implications go. I mean, obviously, other teams can lose, certainly Georgia, Florida, whoever can lose. But, Ohio State, Michigan is the only game of, top teams going against each other this weekend.
I mean, the positive of this is, there's absolute chaos for the college football playoff right now, and it could be even more chaotic if none of these teams lose, or if a couple of these teams do lose, might be even better. Like if Georgia loses, or if Oregon beats Washington, no, because then Oregon would go anyways. But like if Georgia loses, or if a couple things happen, like who gets those last 4 spots, So it could be interesting if things.
It will be definitely interesting how this ends.
Yeah.
Because there's really no clear-cut answer for anything.
Yeah.
Around the country this past week, every team that was favored to win won. It was like 2 top 25 teams even lost. It was like North Carolina at number 20 and Kansas State at 25, whatever we said earlier. There wasn't much. So this week, as I mentioned, the only real game of note is, as far as top 10 teams go, is the big D game, Ohio State, Michigan. That's that. I know Alabama and Auburn play. Plenty of games on Friday with Black Friday. We're not going to bother with picks this week because we haven't done it for several weeks now.
Speaking of Auburn, we were sitting at Buffalo Wild Wings Thursday, and we were trying to figure out where we were in relation to like Tuscaloosa and to Auburn, because there was a bunch of both of them, their apparel around us, because we were in Montgomery. And we saw that Auburn was only like an hour away, and they played at 6 or 7. No, they played at 3, the afternoon window on Saturday. And so we're like, oh, maybe we just skip out on our last 18 and we go to an Auburn football game. But then we saw that they played New Mexico State. And we're like, probably not the one we want to go to. But tickets were only $9, so we considered it. And they're like, yeah, we don't want to go watch New Mexico State and Auburn. And then Jerry Kill went in the damn place and beat Auburn. Jerry freaking Kill.
Probably just could have texted Mario Mocha. He probably could have got you in.
Probably. I don't think Mario likes me, though.
Yeah, probably not.
Not many people do.
Mario wrote me a letter of recommendation. Fun fact. Oregon State's Friday night. Whoa. That's a game of note. Michigan, Ohio State, as I mentioned, is the noon game on Saturday. Your Louisville Cardinals host Kentucky. Colorado goes to Utah. Alabama, Auburn. Yeah. Washington State, Washington for the belt. And then, the ESPN A team will probably be at Georgia Tech. So, big weekend of football. What else? What else should we talk about?
South Bend Hawkeyes asking me if Louisville sells out the stadium.
Do they?
They did announce that Saturday is a sellout. Will a butt be in every seat? Probably not. But they did announce that this game is a sellout. There was one other sellout earlier in the year. I don't remember which game. But there was one other sellout, and the pictures and videos from the game showed a lot of empty seats. So,
okay.
We'll see. Kentucky's kind of not as good as people thought. Louisville's already clinched the ACC title game, so we'll see what it's like. I might try and go, but I haven't decided yet.
Since we have a little bit of time here and we don't have a ton of other things to talk about, do we? And I haven't been doing the thing I did last year with who's in, who's out type thing, just because like nothing's happened, so I just haven't cared. Do we want to predict who makes the playoff at this point? With 1 week left in the season, and then the championship weekend. right now, the top 5 is still Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Washington, and Florida State, depending on which ranking you look at.
So I think it's going to be right now. I think Georgia. Can I take the caveat of winner of Ohio State, Michigan?
Sure, that's fine.
So Georgia, winner of Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, and who's 6 right now?
Well, depending on which poll you look at, but I'm looking at Oregon is 6.
I want to say Texas.
So
I
obviously,
think Georgia's going to win the SEC. I think whoever Michigan or Ohio State's going to win the Big Ten. I think Oregon's going to beat Washington, or Oregon's going to beat Oregon State and Washington and win the Pac-12. So it's just a matter of who gets that 4th spot, and I want to say it'd probably be Texas because I think Louisville is going to beat Florida State.
Texas over 1-loss Georgia, Michigan? Or,
yes.
sorry, Ohio State, Michigan.
Yes.
Texas over a 1-loss Ohio State or Michigan.
I think so.
Texas over and unbeaten Florida State?
They have an Alabama win. I said Florida State's going to lose.
Oh, to Louisville.
I think Louisville's going to beat Florida State. Without the quarterback, I think Louisville's going to beat Florida State.
Okay. All right. I mean, I'm with you. I think Georgia's in regardless. Winner of Ohio State, Michigan's in.
You think Georgia's in regardless if Alabama beats them? That's where the chaos happens. If Alabama beats Georgia, I don't know what's going to happen. Because how can you keep Alabama out at that point? And how can you keep Georgia out?
There's a lot of chaos. There hasn't been much chaos until now. But this is, there's still realistically, 8 teams? Does Louisville have a shot at this?
No.
Okay, so there's 8 teams. There's 8 teams that have a shot. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Washington, Florida State, Oregon, Texas, Alabama. All 8 of those teams.
Sorry, I was reading the chat. Go again.
Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Washington, Florida State, Oregon, Texas, Alabama. 8 teams.
Yeah.
We have 2 weeks left, realistically, and 8 teams that are still in the picture.
So, Georgia and Alabama, one of them's going to lose. Michigan, Ohio State, one of them's going to lose. Oregon, Washington, one of them's going to lose. So that leaves Florida State and Texas.
Right, but there's also a difference between one of those 1-loss teams losing versus one of the 0-loss teams losing.
Exactly. So what if Alabama beats Georgia, Oregon beats Washington, and then Ohio State beats Michigan, but then Iowa beats Ohio State?
Okay, that's not happening. But everything else is pure chaos and is certainly on the table. I'm rooting for chaos at this point because that's what we've set ourselves up for.
What if they just say, fuck it, let's do 12 this year?
At least 8. Just give us 8 or 6. At that point, there will probably be 6 because somebody will lose. So once you get 2 losses, you're done. But at this point, we have 2 games left, 2 weeks left, and there are still 8 teams that are in play here to make the playoff.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
There's not really a clear front runner, unless you consider just the unbeaten teams are front runners, which I guess they would be.
With what Hawkeye says here, the Pac-12 winner, it's going to be Oregon or Washington. If Oregon beats Washington, they go because they win the championship, the Pac-12 championship. If Washington beats Oregon, of course they're undefeated. Of course they're going. And then if Texas wins the Big 12, I think they go, and then the winner of the SEC and the winner of the Big 10. I think that's what it is right now, which is what I alluded to at the start of this conversation.
No one conference should have more than 1 team in.
Yeah. So that's where the Alabama, Georgia. Yeah. If Alabama beats Georgia, that's where that conversation comes in. Like, who the heck do you take at that point?
Yeah. It's going to be fun. All right.
Imagine
talk about something else.
Imagine being Jeff Brom. Your one blemish is a 3-9 Pittsburgh team.
Mm-hmm.
You could be undefeated going into the ACC championship with a quarterback being out. You could have been 13-0. But then even if Florida State does go undefeated, I take a 1-loss team over Florida State. This year, I think you do.
It'll be hard. I don't disagree, but I think it'll be hard for them to do that. But
yeah,
we'll see.
I think Florida State stumbles, though, so we'll see. They could stumble this week.
It's true.
Florida.
In Gainesville.
Exactly.
We'll see. Baseball, we're officially in free agent season. Let's see. Your boy Lance Lynn coming back. You excited?
As long as he's 4 or 5 and not 2 or 3. I mean, it's good for him because I know he married a girl from Southern Illinois. He's got a house in Marion. So it's good for him.
Really? I don't think I knew any of that.
Yeah, he married a girl from Benton, and they built a house in Marion. Although I don't want to give up too much of their personal life. But yeah, he's got ties to Southern Illinois, so it makes sense for him. I figured it was either retirement or St. Louis or Chicago, one of the Chicago teams for him. So yeah, it makes sense. I am mad that they let him go in the first place. I was a big Lance Lynn fan 8 years ago or whatever it was when they didn't re-sign him. He's the epitome of I'm going to throw it as hard as I can, and you're going to hope you swing and miss. So it's an innings guy. Hopefully he can get some consistent innings, and he's not the marquee signing of the offseason because Cardinals have some needs, and one of their top needs is off the board already. So yeah, you were holding out hope for Aaron Nola. I thought he was one of the most likely top targets, but apparently they didn't even get close enough to have a conversation with him. So I guess that was never the case.
Sounds like the Phillies gave him all the money he wanted, just spread it out over 7 years. I'm not sure anybody else was going to give him 7 years.
7 years for a 30-year-old is quite risky. I saw he took less money to stay in Philly. That's what I saw.
It was just spread out longer. Well, I don't know. I guess could be. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Because I mean, the pitching market's not that deep. There's 5 marquee guys.
Yeah, it's like him and Sonny Gray and Shohei, if you want to count Shohei, but he can't even pitch this coming season.
Snell.
Yeah, there aren't many.
And then now you got the Yamamoto has been posted, so that window opens tomorrow, 45 days. I don't think a mid-market team is going to put up the cash for him. So, yeah, it's the confidence I have in John Mozeliak is less than 1%. Yeah. So plenty of free agents still on the board, plenty of trades still to happen. I mean, the question for the show here,
Shohei,
the show, is the Cubs are getting linked to the show quite a bit. Does that make you nervous? Is that getting your hopes up?
No, I'm not. It's not getting my hopes up, but it certainly has my attention. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems to be the Cardinal or not the Cardinals. The Cubs and the Dodgers clearly seem to be the two front runners here, from what I understand. But who knows? It's a long off season, and who knows how long Shohei will let this thing go. Would love to see him in a Cubs uniform. Could certainly change a lot of things. I'm not going to be heartbroken if it doesn't happen, but if it doesn't happen, you got to make sure you have a backup plan here. I'm not sure what the backup plan is. Could be a trade. Could be somebody trading. It could be a trade for like a Juan Soto or Pete Alonso or something like that. Maybe they go back after Bellinger. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the Shohei thing would be wonderful for Chicago for a variety of reasons. He fills the holes that they have. And I'm not getting my hopes up, but it certainly has my attention. That is absolute fact. It'd be big.
Go ahead. Use all your payroll on him. I'll be fine with that.
It is a lot of money.
Yeah,
It's
tie
gonna
up
be
a
a
lot of
lot of
that
money.
money. Tom Ricketts
Yeah.
already is stingy with the money, so I'd be interested to see who he tries to put around Shohei, and you throw out that kind of money to one player.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that is the part that concerns me. It
Yeah.
is. Admittedly, that is the thing. Is that's going to cost a ton of money, and you just don't know. I'm concerned the pitching side. I just don't. I don't
think he has many innings left.
I don't think it's a long-term thing. I don't know if at some point maybe there's a discussion about moving him to the bullpen. I don't know how that works. We're changing the game here. Baseball professionally hasn't been played like this in a long time, so how that happens, who knows? But that to me, as a skeptic, it's the pitching. The hitting will happen, will work. Like he'll be able to hit for forever. But it's the pitching that I'm not as sold on long term. So we'll see. We'll see how they handle it if that's indeed what happens. But if they do bring him in, it'll be great. But that can't be it. you gotta have something else there, and that's gonna eat up a lot of your cash. So what that other move is, I don't know. What the backup plan is, I don't know. But have to think that sooner or later we're gonna start hearing some things. But yeah, I love baseball off season. It's one of my favorite things.
And it's getting started earlier.
Yeah, this is
normally true. I mean, we had to wait till this calendar year to see the first big signing last year, and I know Noel was a re-signing. He's not an actual like going somewhere else, but starting earlier. Hopefully, we continue that.
Yeah. All right. Hall of Fame ballot released today. One of my favorite players of all time is an option.
Chase Utley.
A nominee. Huh?
Chase Utley?
No.
Jimmy Rollins?
Nope.
I didn't even look at the ballot, so I just heard one station talking about them, so that was my guess.
No.
What team?
Minnesota Twins.
Oh, Joe Mauer.
Joe Mauer. Big Joe Mauer guy. In fact, I meant to, and I forgot. I meant to go grab my Joe Mauer jersey out of it's in a stored somewhere in the garage, but yeah, big Joe Mauer fan. Don't think he gets in. Don't
really
think that. Not on first ballot for sure. I would love it if he gets in, but I don't think he played long enough.
Let me look at his stats. I thought he was a shoo-in.
I don't know if he is. I mean, the back half of his career was just as a singles hitting first baseman. I mean, yeah, he had some good seasons. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see him get in there, and maybe he does, but I don't think he's a lock.
Interesting. I didn't realize he fell off as hard as he did.
Yeah, I mean, he never became a bad player, but had he stuck behind the plate and produced consistently, it's a different story. But I think once the injuries, the concussions took him to first base and he wasn't, I think that ultimately hurt him. I just don't think that he gets in. I would love to see it that he does, and maybe he does eventually. I don't know how that hurts or helps your boy Yachty. But
I mean, we've got 4 more years before we have the Yachty first ballot conversation.
I know. But yeah, love Joe Mauer. I don't even know who the likely people are. Let's see. This is one story. Todd Helton could get in this year. He almost got in last year. Billy Wagner and Andrew Jones are in the mix. Adrian Beltre is probably a first ballot guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would love to see Joe Mauer get in. I don't know that it happens, but it definitely won't happen on the first ballot.
David Wright, Bartolo Colon, Matt Holliday, Jose Bautista, Adrian Gonzalez, Jose Reyes, Victor Martinez, James Shields, Brandon Phillips. I don't think any of those are first ballot.
Yeah. Again, had Mauer stuck behind the plate for his whole career and still produced like he did, it's a different story. But I think that move to first base when it happened, I just don't. His numbers didn't sustain long enough to do that. So He had that run from in the mid 2000s that was incredible. MVP award, Gold Glove, Silver Sluggers. Like he was the guy. And he was consistent for his whole career as just an on base guy, but I don't think that's Hall of Fame worthy. Should we shut it down? We've been on here a little over an hour. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so. Did we talk about the Big Brother finale?
I don't think so. No, we didn't do a regular show last week. Do you have thoughts? Remember. Jag won.
Oh yeah, Jag dominated.
Jag dominated.
I thought Matt was terrible in the final episode or whatever to the jury. But yeah, Jag dominated. I will never understand why Cameron was like the house enemy. The whole season, I was like, why? Why is everyone out to get this guy? I think he was the best player of the season until Jag's late run. But
I think Cameron's social game was his downfall. And Sri made a comment about that, and Cameron agreed to it. I don't think Cameron had the best social game.
Yeah.
But I do think as a competitive player and as somebody that was controlling things in the house, and Cameron stirred things up. I liked Cameron, and I know obviously a lot of people did because he won America's favorite player. But I don't think he had a particularly great social game, and I think that ultimately hurt him. I was surprised, honestly, that Jag won. I just figured the jury would be more pro Matt. But ultimately, I'm kind of glad that it happened that way because I like it when they actually they award the best player. And Jag was far and away the best player in the game this season. And I'm glad that he took Matt because had it not been for Matt, he wouldn't have been there to begin with.
Right.
Glad that he stuck to that deal. I don't know if he truly thought that he was going to win in that situation or not. But Bowie Jane was useless.
Mm-hmm.
Despite winning a couple comps down the stretch, she did next to nothing. But yeah, I'm glad Jag won. I'm glad they rewarded the player that played the best game, which they don't always do. His speech was aggressive. Yeah. Yeah, he was an aggressive. I didn't particularly love the speeches and the questions from either standpoint. Matt was not prepared for them.
No. Not at all.
Matt, again, just, they always do this. They always cast half the house that's familiar with the game and half the house that's not. Matt was not. Matt was clearly not familiar with how this game goes.
Yeah.
Jag was great with his questions and his speeches, but then he got super aggressive, and I didn't love that. But apparently the votes were already made up before he gave that speech. So, but yeah, my audition tape is in the works for next season. So I'll be out of the office for summer 2024
for 100 days.
For 100 days, and you'll have to do the show solo.
I can handle.
If I go on the show, will you be a live? Will you do this show, but turn it into like a live feed thing, just like commenting on all the things that I do?
I am not watching you 24/7 on the live feeds. No.
So you're not gonna just do this and just
I did use
a Logan Lee show.
Occasionally, I did used to watch it when it was on Pop TV.
Yeah.
But in the last 4 years, I probably haven't watched the live feeds one single time.
Yeah. I'll turn them on occasionally, but
this season wasn't great. I think we said it from the get-go. The casting wasn't great. The personalities didn't click with me. I feel like there wasn't a ton of drama, and the drama that they tried to present wasn't actual drama.
Yeah. It was overproduced. I think this season was incredibly overproduced.
Yeah.
Too many twists and unnecessary BS that whatever the reason was, whether it was to prolong the season, extend the season, whatever, too many advantages, too many disadvantages. I don't think they talked about it. They didn't talk about it on the show at all. But the whole thing with Matt, he was at such a disadvantage in that show.
Yeah.
And the way he stuck it out, just incredible. But
Yeah, I
whatever.
thought he was going to get America's Favorite House Guest. I thought he was going to
I did too. I figured it would be him and Suri would be two of the three. I wasn't sure who the third would be. I was surprised it was Cameron, but I haven't followed everything. My mom said that one of the polls out there was very high on Cameron, so that doesn't totally shock me then. But yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Is your Christmas stuff up yet?
No.
That's a shame. I got 5 trees in my house.
What?
I have to be in like the 99th percentile of trees to square footage. In the country.
5? We're probably not even putting up one. We don't have room for one.
There are 5. There are 5 Christmas trees in my house. Yeah,
decorated and lit and everything.
At least lit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 2 bedrooms, the office, the dining room, and the living room. One of them is real. That got cut down on Saturday. 4 of them are not real.
You're ridiculous.
There's one right here. I'm a Christmas person. My fiance is even more of a Christmas person. So
no way.
Oh, way. Yes, way.
Oh my! You guys are.
It's
perfect.
not. This is admittedly.
Perfect
this is not all
other.
me. I love it. I am not against it at all. But it is not all me.
Am I? Oh, I thought this guy was talking about you. I was like, what? Am I crazy for remembering that one of them stays up all year?
Yeah, we have one in our bedroom that stays up all year.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just a light, basically. But yes, we do have one in our bedroom that stays up year round. Our bedroom kind of has like that kind of vibe, not like Christmas vibe, but like pine tree type of vibe. Yeah. So, okay. But yes, yep, there are 5 in our house.
We might put some Christmas decorations up soon, just because we are going to be gone for this weekend for 3 days, and then obviously gone for most of Christmas through the new year, so we won't get to enjoy the decorations. So,
and I get that. I
we might put it up soon, but we don't put up a ton because we have a small house, and 2 because we're not really here to enjoy it. Mark asking,
you should come hang out at Christmas time. You can see what it's all about.
I was there close to Christmas. It was about this time.
Maybe we were in the apartment. It wasn't quite the same thing.
There was a tree up. I do remember that. Mark asking Logan Gilbert, still a possibility. I thought you were talking about my co-host Logan Lee, and I was like, is that his middle name? Like, what the heck? I have not heard Logan Gilbert. I heard who's the Seattle other guy? Kirby. I heard George Kirby at the deadline last year. That didn't happen. The trade names I'm hearing for the Cardinals are the same as everyone. Tyler Glasnow, Dylan Cease, and there's one more trade name out there. I can't think of who. Oh, Corbin Burns. Mm-hmm. That's not happening because they're not going to trade him in division. I could see Cease or Glasnow. Glasnow's got 1 year, 25 left on his deal. Cease, I believe, is under team control for 2026, maybe.
Love Dylan Cease.
I do too. And I also saw today that Blue Jays have made Alek Manoah available. I would gladly take a shot on him, and I know they're interested in Dylan Carlson. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind any of those 3. But, I mean, I would take Gilbert too, but I don't know that he's available. So, all right, let's shut this down. I got pizza waiting on me.
Okay, we're going to shut it down. This has been No One Asked Us. As always, follow, share, like, subscribe, everything else. If you're watching this later on, thanks for hanging out, getting in the chat. Thank you to those of you in the chat. Yes, what are you saying?
I'm trying to get the balloons to pop up again.
Oh, here.
Because the 2 times they popped up, I did that, and they popped up. So
I don't know. We'll have to look into why the balloons pop up. I don't know if we do that or somebody else does that. Who knows? He's Craig. I'm Logan. No One Asked Us. Thanks for joining us. We might do a post-game show on Friday, TBD on that. But we will plan to be back here probably a week from today for a weekly show, recapping the weekend as we get closer into almost December at that point. So, yeah, let's shut it down. For Craig, I'm Logan. We'll see you next time. 35 days till Christmas. Bye.